Welcome, sinners, to the Cinamen podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Nick.
I'm Tyler.
And this week we got a special episode. We did something a little different this week. We didn't find anything good in theaters we wanted to watch, so we decided to stray from the path and do something that we have not got to do yet on this show. And this was musicals. So we all chose a musical.
Yeah, one musical apiece
that we wanted to watch and let the others experience with us. And you two sinners, of course. So what? Cinamen Tyler chose
Dr. Horrible's Sing-Along Blog. My favorite musical.
And Nick chose...
I chose Sweeney Todd, the Barber of Fleet Street.
Nick's favorite musical.
And I chose Into the Woods. Not my favorite, but a good one nonetheless. A good one to dive into if you're fresh in the musical.
Because I had never seen it before today, technically.
Before we did it for this episode.
I watched it this morning, yeah.
And Nick, you never saw Sweeney Todd before you did this one?
No, I'd never seen.
So you just went out. You were just like, "Hey, this sounds like a good one. I'm going to choose this one."
Yeah, it was a good excuse to watch it. I'd never seen it.
I saw it a long time ago, and I remember not being a huge fan. And I thought, maybe coming back to it now, I might like it a little bit more. And I feel about the same.
Well, I think it's also one of the different ones too. It's more darker.
Well, I like that.
Killing a lot of gore.
To me, that's why it should have been amazing.
It's not a fluffy musical like most seem to be.
You're not. That's true. You're not a Tim Burton hater, Tyler?
I'm not a Tim Burton hater, but I'm definitely not, at least
Biased.
anymore,
Biased.
a Tim Burton lover.
That was biased.
I'm neither. I'm right in the middle. I'm a wait and see. I'll watch a Tim Burton movie, and I hate to be one of those purists that's like, his old stuff was way better.
Yeah.
But I mean, when you really look at the old stuff, it's way
really
better.
Is,
And
I feel like lately he's become more of a sellout to Disney.
Well, I heard a theory that the reason we like all of his old stuff is because we were kids when his old stuff's coming out, and now that we're older and his stuff is still kind of generally aimed at children, we're like, this stuff sucks, but it's we're adults, and so we're maybe not his demographic anymore.
That's true. I guess I haven't seen a lot of his more recent films.
I wanted to see Big Eyes.
Yeah, I didn't.
Just
see Big
because
Eyes.
of Christoph Waltz.
I didn't see that. What's that one with Depp? It's like the vampire, and there's the family.
Dark Shadows.
Dark Shadows.
Okay, yeah, I got it. Didn't see that one.
I have seen it, and I really didn't care for it.
I didn't see. Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children is not out yet.
Not out yet.
No, right. Thought there was one or two more he did in there.
Yeah, there's a few, and I just stopped caring, I think.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. But going first, I guess I will let Cineman Nick choose our first one to talk about out of the many. And this is just we each chose one. We know that there's many more musicals that are worse and better out there.
The plan is to come back later and do more musical episodes.
Yeah, we'll definitely have a musicals part 2. So
yeah.
But Nick, I'll let you start off. Which of the three? What you like best? What you didn't like best?
Let's just we'll go ahead and start just while we're talking about Burton. Let's just start with Sweeney Todd.
Yeah, let's get that one out of the way.
First off, very Tim Burton. If there was a musical for him, this is it.
Well, I love the style. I love aesthetically. I love the look, and some of the performances were all right. I like the plot a lot. I like the barber coming back and getting his revenge, and her turning him into meat pies. So I really, really enjoyed that aspect of it. My only problem is the music, and it's a musical, so it's a big problem.
Well, I think this is probably, given that Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog is only 40 minutes, so in the time you had to establish a beginning, middle, and end, obviously it's pretty bullet point. With Sweeney Todd, yeah. I feel like it almost takes a step back from the musical part of it, unlike Into the Woods, where the theme is reprised several times in the act, everything comes to a close. This just sets it up like a movie with songs in it, there's one or two songs that are reprised.
No, it definitely
doesn't have.
It's got a lot of the repeating themes and stuff in it, I think.
Outside of the Joanna and the
Best Pies in London and the
there was times I thought Into
city
the Woods
full of shit
looked a little set-ish.
Some people inhabit it, whatever.
I thought he would just have the foreground, like Star Wars movie, the foreground's all set, and then the back's just CGI because you're looking at a faraway kingdom or something. Whereas I thought Sweeney Todd had the better Maybe that's because everything's like dark, gothic, and macabre, which is awesome. I like it.
I actually
Just
like Into the
I thought
Woods. I like
had the better set and stuff. Like had the better
Oh, yeah.
presentation of.
You think Into the Woods was better?
The setting and
presentation
stuff.
wise? Or did you think
I'm saying some of the stuff in Into the Woods looked too much like a set.
Ooh, I really liked
Whereas
the look
I
of
thought-
Into the Woods.
Sweeney Todd's was better at not having it look like a set and actually look like
Ooh, I don't know.
middle century London.
I think I'm backwards on that one from you. Because I thought a lot of the Sweeney Todd stuff was like, okay. Like, I don't know. It looked fake. I don't know. It looked
The only thing that looked fake was when she was on. When he. Oh, you didn't finish the last.
I missed just the bit at the ending there.
What was the last bit you saw?
Spoilers, by the way.
Yeah, definitely heavy spoilers, sinners.
Every episode, pretty much.
I think the last thing I remember is that he gets ready to gets ready to shave up, or does Judge Turpin?
Alan Rickman.
Alan Rickman.
Okay.
R.I.P.
And
His name, yeah. Let's just call him by his real
the
name.
kid busts in and reveals his plan, not noticing him, and then it's like, what, you know, who's who, whatever, and Alan Rickman storms off. And then I think something else happens. I know he kills
That's as far as you got?
Pirelli. No, like I said, I think
Oh.
something else happens. That's just the biggest significant, like, landmark, point of the movie that I can remember.
Okay. What I'm trying
That's
to
way early. That seems that.
Pirelli is dead. Sacha Baron Cohen is dead.
Yeah, he's definitely dead.
Okay. What's happened to Joanna? The last thing you saw, was she still in the house?
I couldn't tell you, man.
Well, I guess essentially the Jamie Campbell Bower.
Well, I've kind of read the clip notes, so we don't have to baby step it. I'm
Oh,
just saying,
okay.
like,
Okay.
that's-
The point I was getting at was when he threw Mrs. Lovett into the fire. That was the only part where I was like, okay, that's. It was almost focused on her too much, and you could just like here, sit and look at this, and as it gets longer, you can tell it's CG. You know, like should have just been like a quick
Yeah.
kick in the fire, shut the door.
And then hear her screaming.
Yeah,
or
I
whatever.
think that would have been presented better because I hate when something good gets ruined by like, you're staring at it so long and you're like, okay, I'm starting to notice this is heavy CG.
Yeah. It sucks that you missed the ending, though, because, like, plot-wise, I think the ending was where the movie really shined the best.
That's where the meat of the movie was.
Reading
Huh?
about it, it
Yeah?
sounded like I
Meat
was
pies?
like, whoa, I didn't know it was gonna get that juicy at the end.
It's very Departed, where everything happens in like the last 30 minutes.
Which it sucks, you know.
Yeah, he just he starts killing.
Like, I had to watch.
everyone
I had to
comes
watch
into
it in
this
two
thing.
settings, which I hate to do with the movie, you know, because I just really wasn't invested. You know, I was laying down watching the movie, and halfway through, I realized there was still an hour left, so I paused it, went to sleep, woke up, finished it, and I don't know. It just didn't grab me like Into the Woods. Into the Woods, I watched straight through, loved every minute of it.
I do agree. The songs were the down part of it. I enjoyed most of them. None of them reeled me in and made me want to go sing them and look them up and dig into them.
I'm gonna have
I
the
just
Sweeney
wanna find
Todd
that
soundtrack on repeat in my car.
Yeah. So it didn't have any of that, but I liked the performances. Depp surprisingly did all right. It's weird that he actually showed up in two of these.
Both of the movies, I didn't expect it because Into the Woods, I had never seen a trailer for. I didn't know what it was about. I like to go in blind if I can to a movie and just kind of get the full experience. And it always surprises me because I'm never ready for it. Like, I see the credits start rolling and everything, and it gets ready to start. And then I was like, oh, yeah, I'm watching a movie I know nothing about. And once you realize that, it gets really fun.
I think that was the best part about watching Dr. Horrible was
Not knowing about it.
yeah. And I was mad that it was only 40 minutes.
Yes.
42 minutes. I was like, what?
If there's one complaint I have about Dr. Horrible, it's that you don't get enough of it.
Has Tim Burton done any other live action musicals that we can think of? I mean, obviously he's got, he didn't direct Nightmare Before Christmas, but that's his baby. He did Corpse Bride, which is musically inclined. He's got...
Beetlejuice has got some music, but not even
not
close
enough to... I don't know that he's... I'm trying to think of all of
I
his...
think that's really his
musical number.
Corpse Bride. Oh, he did do Corpse Bride. That's
Yeah, he
his-
did direct Corpse Bride.
That's Johnny Depp and Helen Bonham Carter again.
Yeah. And
Just a good team up, and I enjoy Corpse Bride too.
You think it's a good team? I wish he would stop using his wife in everything.
Okay. I should have said it. It can be a good team up.
See, yeah, because then you get.
you think this is
Alice
one of
in
the worst
Wonderland, and
team
it's
ups
like,
where you get...
Yeah. Okay. Sure. I agree with you there too.
I think they actually both fit the part really well. I don't necessarily love their singing, and like I said, the songs really take me out of it. I feel like
Depp
There was
only
no
got away with
flow.
his, like,
With good
average
performance
singing
by
because
Depp.
of the role that it is.
Right, yeah. Okay.
Like, there's no way he could have, as much of a lady killer she is, he could not have played a prince in Into the Woods. He doesn't have those looks, and there's no way he could make that kind of singing jump. But the songs that he did in both of these, his one and...
I thought his singing was better in Sweeney Todd than it was in Into the Woods. Like, Into the Woods, just it really sounded like, he was like...
Into the Woods.
He was older, too.
True, I'm just saying with one song, though, I was like, I wasn't as hung up on his role as Into the Woods as I was in Sweeney Todd.
I feel, you talk about the sellout thing, I feel like his name attached to Into the Woods is just him, is Disney being like, hey, Johnny, if you got time, you want to play a wolf in our musical? And he's like, yeah, dude.
He's like, well, I have this, between these two major movies, I have 10 days of free time. And they're like, this will only take 5 days to shoot.
And maybe it's like a
Sign right
favorite
here.
thing, and maybe he just really enjoys what he's doing. But that, to me, is what I think of when you say sellout. Like, what are you doing under the Disney label, dude? You don't need these guys.
Yeah.
I feel like it's hard for him to find... I feel like it's hard for him to find anything going on right now because his non-Disney stuff isn't catching on either.
Right, yeah. Like
Transcendence.
Which was okay. It actually wasn't as bad as I thought, but it is weird.
That tanked. Remember that one he did with Angelina Jolie several years back?
Tourist.
That tanked.
I never saw it.
Mordecai tanked.
He's just been in a lot... Oh, what's that? The Rum Diary? A few years back.
Terrible.
That wasn't good.
I don't know. I didn't even make it very far. It was just incredibly boring.
I'm inclined to think his...
And I'm a huge Fear and Loathing fan.
Will end coming in May, though, when Pirates comes out.
Is that when it comes out?
Pirates 5.
If the story's better than Pirates 4, I mean, if what was missing from Pirates 4 is present in Pirates 5, yeah, I could see it being back on the rise.
Either way, I think it's going to make money.
Right.
So it looks like his slump was probably counting down. But this was a good hit for him. I believe he was Oscar nominated for his performance in this role.
Sweeney Todd?
Yeah. And he may have won the Globe for it just because how they do their awards.
Right.
But a success for Johnny Depp. I almost call him Johnny Cage. Johnny Depp and Tim Burton and Helena Bonham Carter. They do good things when they're together sometimes. Every once in a while, they have one that misses, like Dark Shadows or Alice in Wonderland. But I think this one, they really nailed it.
Well,
I think this was a good collaboration.
Have you seen the
three.
original Sweeney Todd?
Sweeney Todd? No. I've not seen a stage play.
A Broadway play from like the 70s, like 79 or
Yeah, I'm just wondering, like, how much of the music.
I know they cut out.
How
a
much
bunch
of the
songs.
original is to blame for the music?
Well, I was saying, I was looking up this movie, and I think they took out a lot of reprises from different songs, like a lot of songs coming back, like we're talking Into the Woods, and they streamlined this into just like I said, almost like a movie with music. You know what I'm saying? Like besides the Joanna reprise, that song they opened up in the beginning about bits and shits and
Rats
yeah, the one I didn't care for it that much.
I didn't like it either, and it's like right off the bat, it's the song, and it just sets the mood. It just sets me off on the wrong foot. I was like, oh, that song was already subpar to what I was expecting.
This was just,
you really do have to have a good first song.
Yeah, that's true. And Into the Woods is once the do do and do and it's catch. You're like, whoa, okay, I'm into this. And I was talking to you several years ago, like when we saw the filmed stage version with Bernadette Peters of Into the Woods. I was like, dude, make this a real movie. Like not filming a stage play, like a real movie. And then this one came out, and I was like, okay, that was pretty much everything I could hope for when it comes to that, because that was really good. I wish I could see the stage play of Sweeney Todd though.
That'd be cool. Yeah, I would like to see it because I have seen the stage Broadway version of Into the Woods, but not Sweeney Todd.
I really liked Sweeney Todd. I liked the look. I liked, the actors. I liked the story. I will knock it a bit because I do think they could have got better singers than Bonham Carter and Depp, but I understand. I'm the type of guy where if I hired actors for a singing role, I would want them to do their own singing as well.
Yeah.
And it isn't like Into the Woods where I feel like you just had name after name as like a draw. Where they're like, oh, if you like Meryl Streep, Johnny Depp, Chris Pine, Anna Kendrick,
Yeah, but they all did amazing. Like, and Anna Kendrick is a good singer,
Yeah, I'm just saying.
I mean, we've seen her time and time again in, Pitch Perfect and...
Sweeney Todd didn't have that. It just had the name draw of Depp and Bonham Carter.
Yeah.
And he made, I think, a successful film.
Well, I know Depp was also pretty hesitant about taking the role just because of the singing aspect. Because I guess, as far as I remember reading the reports, it's something that Tim Burton gave him like the soundtrack to it, like in '04 or something, like several years before they filmed, and was like, "This is a project we have coming up." He might have been in like the middle of Pirates stuff. It's like, this is what I'm thinking down the line. Like, do you think this is something you'd be interested in? And Depp, I guess, kind of utilized that time to
Get some singing coaching and
maybe
stuff.
like like hone his voice there a little bit, and he reeled it in enough,
It was fine.
for what it needed to be. He definitely wasn't going to hit any crazy Steven Tyler notes or anything, but he did all right.
The fact that it was like
JD.
R-rated and macabre, and because it wasn't R-rated for like excess cussing, like he wasn't just like every time he slashed, he was
Which is
dropping
Tim Burton's
F-bombs.
style. Tim Burton is never into like
No, that's what I'm
dropping
saying. Like
massive
this,
F-bombs all over.
Yeah.
this I liked it even more that it did not do that. Like just enough where you had like even like crazy blood just like splattering. I was like, see, this would be cool.
I love the effects, like
to see
when
live.
I can't remember who it was, but he sliced their throat. Instead of the blood like spurting out, it kind of like waterfall down their neck. Like I thought
Sleepy Hollow feel to it.
yeah, I really liked
Yeah,
a lot of the visuals.
and then the wife was actually alive, and mom didn't,
That was-
and then he kills her, and you're like,
So yeah,
oh
he
my
comes.
God.
So he comes back to London to find his wife, who he was separated from.
He was married with a daughter, Joanna.
Yes.
And Alan Rickman, who was the mayor, wanted judge, wanted the wife.
Mm-hmm.
So he exiled Benjamin Barker,
Yeah.
Johnny Depp's character, for several years. Comes back, and in the shop where his old barbershop used to be is now Mrs. Lovett's Pies.
Yes.
And she tells him the story of the barber and his wife that lived there and what happened to them.
I kind of like that song, the barber and his wife.
Yeah,
You know?
I
That song was
liked a
okay.
lot of the songs in this. So when you guys were like, "Oh, I didn't care for it," I was like, "Oh,
Well, I said they had a couple hits.
okay, all right." Because there was actually some times that reminded me of like different musical,
Cues or something.
yeah, from like Into the Woods, and I think I had a few of them kind of rung a bell from some other Sondheim musical that I can't think of right now. But and I was like, "Oh, this." I feel like this because this is familiar to me. I'm more interested in this. But yeah, the story comes and turns out she's known all along, and he goes and
Yeah. So
kills
his wife's-
Sacha Baron Cohen.
So his wife is still alive, and she's like
She's like
bum.
the town bum
Yeah.
that everyone's like, "Ooh, gross, get away from." I'm
She's
not
like the
giving you food."
town crazy lady.
Okay. I remember reading it and it said she's a hobo lady or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's the.
She approaches the young lad.
Remember, she keeps coming.
Yeah, when the meat pies are successful, she like goes in there when they're eating outside,
I
and
figured
he's like,
she
"Throw
had
the
at
bigger
least
woman
some
out."
so
Yeah.
She's the wife.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just
Okay.
icky looking.
And I thought that was really awesome because you don't find out until she's dead.
See, I had seen the movie and I forgot about it until it first showed her, and I was like, "Oh shit!" Like, "Oh okay." And I feel like it did a good job of not just like mysteriously showing her here and there. It like she goes into like the stuff and tries to get the meat pies, and you're like, "Oh, throw her out." You think
Yeah.
it's just another
Well, I
like
like-
London peasant, and then she's reoccurring. I like that.
Well, I like that she comes up and she's actually talking to him, and he's in such a hurry because he's so overcome by like revenge that he's staring his wife in the eyes, cuts her throat, and gets rid of her.
Yeah,
And then
kills his
just to get. So he kills his wife so he could hurry up and get revenge for his wife being dead.
because the turn pin was upstairs, right?
Yeah.
Is that when that
what was upstairs?
the judge?
Yeah, he was coming up the
Yeah,
stairs
that's-
and he needed to get her out of the way quick. So he just like slit her throat, opened the trapdoor, and threw her down.
Oh, the kid was locked in there, right? Yeah, this is all.
Yeah. So
Yeah, this is all during that 30-minute departed part where like everything just starts happening at once. Where if you backtrack, the kid goes to Mrs. Lovett. Signor Pirelli's little slave kid,
Yeah.
who is now Mrs. Lovett's take-in child, I guess.
Yeah,
whatever,
that-
assistant.
And that's another song I like, the Not While I'm Around. Like
the kid was a good singer.
Yeah, the kid goes to basically warn Mrs. Lovett that
He thinks that Sweeney Todd's killing someone.
Yeah.
Killing people.
yeah, and telling her no one's gonna hurt you, not while I'm around, and she kind of sings it back. And I think that song was really great.
Yeah.
And then she locks him in the basement.
Because I think she's like, shit.
She doesn't want to lose Sweeney Todd.
Right. But she also doesn't want to lose. Because Sweeney Todd has hinted at getting rid of the kid.
Yeah,
And she's like, no, he's good help. Like,
and the kid wants to get rid of Sweeney Todd.
right. So she locks him in their little meat cellar.
Yeah.
the incinerator and everything. And like Tyler said, he's so worried about getting back at
The judge.
the judge. He slices the homeless woman's neck, who he does not know is his wife. It kind of goes to this montage where like he's just slicing customers' throats like left and right.
Which was great.
Yeah, it was awesome. Because like I said, the blood splatter is totally like a Django effect, you know, where it's
Yeah.
just like overdone in your face, but it's so...
I thought you were the one who was saying that like Quentin Tarantino does that too much. Was that you? Who said he's too much on the squirty blood and...
Sure, yeah, but nothing wrong with Tim Burton doing it in one film. Like I was saying, I think that makes part of this musical...
Yeah, I like it. I'm not saying
He was
I don't
talking
like
about... Tim Burton talked about when in London, you know, they have like the first rows like covered in like the plaster or whatever.
Uh-huh.
Because like, oh, the blood might get on you. Oh, no, you know, like it's interactive.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, that would be cool. But yeah, and then he goes and when he finally gets his revenge on Judge,
Yeah.
Alan Rickman, Snape, you know, it's like he's like stabbing him in the neck and it's just
It's not like elegant like the rest of the people he's killed.
Yeah, and he like a beautiful neck slice waterfall down their shirt.
Where he's like
it's
just
like,
singing and just like
yeah,
slice
it's like a
it.
gory like and it's just like all over his face and looks like a scene from like a Saw movie, and just drops him down. He kills the judge's assistant. What's his name in real life? Peter.
Timothy Oliphant?
Tim.
Or,
A lot of
Timothy
crossovers.
Spall.
A lot of
Yeah.
crossovers from Harry Potter in this movie.
Yeah, there is. Yeah,
Every
actually,
time
right.
you go foreign, you're bound to...
You got
Really?
4 Harry Potter
British,
alums.
you know,
Who
you're bound to get
I count 3. Where's the fourth one?
The kid sings Joanna.
The kid?
Yeah, the kid who sings Joanna. The Jamie Campbell Bower.
Who's he in Harry Potter?
Grindelwald, a young Grindelwald, and Deathly Hallows Part 2.
I don't know.
Oh,
I'm not that
he's-
deep into Harry Potter where I know all the...
He's in it. I kept thinking when I was watching this that Amanda Seyfried played Joanna, and then I was like, oh wait, that's the chick in Les Mis that she plays. It's like the same chick. I thought about Les Mis as well to watch because that's if we all wanted to sit there and cry, not watching
Super
it.
award-winning. I've still never seen it.
I haven't either.
We're gonna have to watch this sometime, guys. It's so good. But this one was really good. I really like this one. Like I said, other than Depp and Bonham Carter not being the best of singers.
Well, we didn't get to the end. So he kills the judge, sends him down to the basement. He goes down to the basement and finds out that the bum that he just murdered was his wife and realizes that Mrs. Lovett knew the whole time that his wife was still alive. And, you know, they kind of do this song like, you know, it's okay, you know, we're still together, whatever.
Yeah.
Opens up the furnace and just throws her in.
And yeah, just like shuts the door. And the kid was hiding in like a little sewer pit or something.
Yeah.
Oh, and as Depp is sitting there like crying over his dead wife and like what's now like a pile of bodies.
Yeah.
The kid comes, grabs one of his razor things, and slices Sweeney Todd's throat. And they treat, if you notice, they treat his like these like signature blades. Like, what someone recognized them as his.
I knew I recognized those blades.
Who was that? Was that
Pirelli?
that was Pirelli?
Pirelli, yeah.
Yeah.
Tutored under him or something? Is that what he said?
Oh, is that what he said? I don't remember.
I thought he said he trained under him.
Maybe you're right.
I can't remember.
The shave scene was pretty cool. I did like that. How they're just kind of like taking their time, lathering those dudes up, and then Depp just...
The shave of the face.
Sacha Baron Cohen was awesome.
I think he did good.
Seeing him, yeah.
That was
yeah,
a good
that
song.
was pretty good.
That's like I said. I liked a lot of the songs.
Sacha Baron Cohen surprised me. You know, because we talked about how much you hated Bruno and like Borat in those movies.
I only saw Borat.
When
he hated Bruno.
when he does something like, I don't want to say real acting because I don't want to diss his craft, right?
You hardly ever hear him when he's not having a doofus accent. You know?
Yeah, when he does like non-satirical movies, he gets critical praise for everything. Like I think his small role in this, critics were like, "Oh, Sacha Baron Cohen's awesome," and you're like, "He's in it for like 5 minutes." Like, what do you?
Well, I thought he was really
you know.
good in what's the Talladega Nights. Even though it was he was a goofy role in that
Yeah,
one as
yeah.
well, but I thought he was funny in that.
bitch.
But, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like this movie. There wasn't a whole lot for me to diss about this movie.
See, now that we're talking about it, there's a lot of good things I can say about it. But when I think about when's the next time I'm going to watch this movie, it's probably going to be never or really far into the future.
Was that
This isn't a movie that I don't go
that
out of
doesn't
my way
affect
to
your
watch.
viewing of it now, though, right?
you
Like
mean?
you wouldn't knock that. Be like, this movie was awesome. Because I don't think I'm ever gonna watch it again. I'm gonna knock off 2 points.
Well, rewatchability, that's a factor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But I say, I don't know. We don't get a lot of time to rewatch anything now, unless we have like a free day. Most of the times are spent studying for the podcast.
Yeah, I don't know.
So I mean, I don't get to rewatch anything, so I wouldn't let that.
Yeah, but I
affect-
would. It's not like I'm gonna be upset that I can't rewatch it. You know
That's
what I
true.
mean? Like when I get a chance to rewatch a movie, I'll never. That won't even cross my mind. I'll forget that this movie exists after the day.
If he's flipping channels and this movie's on one of the channels, he's flipping through.
I'm gonna keep.
He's
on
gonna
flipping.
pause on it and be like, "I've never seen Sweeney Todd," and be like, "Oh, yep, shit, no, I did watch that one. Yep, forgot."
Well,
I'm not-
switching it up.
Well,
to-
okay, let's do. What do you give it?
Out of 10, do you give?
I haven't seen the end.
I don't know. You can still.
You've seen like half.
I-
What
well-
would you?
I'm gonna give it a 6.
That low?
Yeah,
It's just over okay for him.
It's fine. You know, I can. Yeah, under 5 is where it's like this is a terrible
That's
movie.
a-
You know.
That's a D in school. That's 60%.
Yeah,
I was always kind of a C student.
I thought D was an F, or 60 was an F. D was an F.
No, it's 59 and below is an F, right? In that
Is
school?
it? Is it? Okay, I'll give it a D.
The internet.
No, we're talking.
I'll give it a D.
grade school. Grades.
D, yeah, it's a passing grade. It
I know it's
passes.
a grade school. I was there with you.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, were you?
it's fine.
I was there with
It was
you
fine.
And not there with you.
Well, what do you give it?
I don't know, like
Grade school.
hey, shut up. I'm gonna give. I don't know, probably like a 7.
7.
Like I said, I liked it. It's not my favorite musical. There's a lot I like about it, but I'm not. You know, when someone's like, "Oh, musicals," I'm not like, "Oh my god, have you seen Sweeney Todd?" It's the best thing ever.
It's not my favorite either. It's not the worst, but
Yeah.
Tim Burton stayed in his realm and he knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
He did what he's good at doing, which we've talked about. We've all, I think, said it on here. If you're good at something, do it, and he did.
Yeah.
He did fine.
Yeah, this is a good Tim Burton movie. I guess we'll jump into. You want to cover
Dr. Horrible?
Doctor Horrible?
I would love to cover Dr. Horrible.
Awesome.
Because this is my favorite musical. It's only 40 minutes.
It was like a 3-part web series or something like that when it debuted.
I'm not sure, but
Got nominated for an Emmy.
yeah, it's so good. I wish we could have more of it. I almost watched it twice. Like, it's that good to where I can watch it over and over again. Like, I laugh out loud every time I watch it. I forget about, like, little jokes here and there, and then it's got me cracking up. So, I mean, obviously, I like this movie. What do you guys think?
It was good. I liked it a lot, actually. It was silly. It was funny. I liked the actors. I've never seen Felicia Day in anything, but she
That
did
is
all right.
so sad. Felicia, if you're listening, what's up, girl?
Neil Patrick Harris was cool to watch, especially because we just got done train rolling How I Met Your Mother. So seeing him as Barney Stinson, and then it's like, okay, take a break from that and see him as something else.
He's very
but awesomely
theatrical.
funny.
I think he
Yeah.
shines when he's theatrical. I don't know if you've
He's-
ever seen the third Harold and Kumar. He's got a
The
big
Christmas one?
Yeah, he's got a big musical.
Yeah, yeah.
When Christmas comes up, I plan on hopefully doing that for one of the episodes because he's got this big musical number. It's very theatrical. It's very, I don't know. He does really good in that kind of role, I think.
He's playing Count Olaf in the Netflix A Series of Unfortunate Events.
Which
That's
is an awesome.
that's so awesome.
So
Yeah.
good.
13 episodes of Neil Patrick Harris being awesome, so I'm down for that. So
I too have not seen Felicia Day in anything, which doesn't bother me. Didn't really care for her.
You didn't like her? She's definitely quirky and like
I love.
I don't know, I'm into that.
And Neil Patrick Harris.
yeah.
I have also not seen How I Met Your Mother, and I don't care to. The stuff that I have seen was not funny. I kept waiting for it to be funny, and I was like, where are the laughs at? It's supposed to be a comedy. I had a real problem.
It's like easy viewing.
It's,
You know what I mean?
It's a sitcom.
It's yeah. Well, don't say it's
It
a
ain't like-
sitcom like with that taste in your
kinda how-
mouth.
that's kinda
Sitcoms
how
are good.
That's how I say it to people, though. Like,
It's a good
There are
sitcom.
How I
sitcoms.
Met
That's
Your
why.
Mother, and people are like, you didn't like it, and I'm like, no.
Well, that's fine. I could see people not liking How I Met Your Mother.
I like
But I
it. It's
Neil
one of
Patrick
those.
Harris. I'm not
Yes.
knocking its cast. I just think its formula was.
See, I
Why don't
enjoyed
you
it.
take 9 seasons to find out who your mother is.
It ain't like Game of Thrones.
The ending was terrible.
Or like
we're not going to get into it, but
where the visuals and the story, you're like, oh my god, I got to pay attention, watch all this. You could skip half the season of How I Met Your Mother and be like, okay, I've missed.
that's
much
why
of
I say
anything.
easy viewing. You
Yeah,
know,
that's what I'm
there
saying.
are sitcoms that
it's
like
a sitcom.
Like shout out to the Goldbergs if you haven't seen that. That is hilarious. So there are sitcoms like Malcolm in the Middle. There are fantastic sitcoms that exist. How I Met Your Mother is a good sitcom. It's
I'm
not
not a sitcom guy. I think no, I'm off. I'm just.
I grew up on sitcoms. Like that was
So did I, but I've just gravitated. I want something more story driven. I want something without commercials if I can.
I'm in the middle because we got treated with like HBO and Stars our whole life.
See, while you guys had HBO and Stars, I had an antenna on my TV, and I was like,
Yeah.
Another rerun of Malcolm in the Middle? Fuck yeah.
Well, now that me and my wife doesn't like to watch Game of Thrones or anything good, so she watches just sitcoms, and I'm like just forced to watch them with her. So
maybe it's a relationship
We've seen
thing.
some good stuff. I'm not knocking sitcoms, but I'm like you, where I'm like, no man, I want an engaging story.
I think sitcoms are a good middle ground.
Like good action.
You know what I'm saying? Like if you're in a relationship and you guys can't really agree on something to watch, sitcom is just something where everyone can find a little bit of something that they enjoy with it. What did you think of the movie?
I did like the movie. Firefly. Have you guys seen Firefly?
I love Firefly.
It is amazing.
You like Firefly?
Oh yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Big fan of Firefly.
Something else we agree on. That's awesome.
So I knew coming in, Joss Whedon and Nathan Fillion were going to team up and probably do something awesome. And I haven't really seen much of Whedon outside the Avengers and Firefly and Serenity. So that was good to get back into something that he does, and I enjoyed it, which was good because I didn't think that I would. I was really like, I got to sit through this damn movie. Are you kidding me? And it was a rocky start. He kind of starts off with his blog, and I'm just like, what?
But I like that. Like I thought that was really good. I love the whole setting
you
for
know how
it.
you need an opening song to pull you into a musical? I needed something to pull me into this, so I was real like.
Did that first song get you?
It took a few. It probably was like 3 or 4.
Like
I was gonna say 5.
Like
5
almost
is like a major portion of the 40-minute movie.
Yeah.
It's probably like 3 or 4 minutes into the movie. I was like, okay. And then when Nathan Fillion, I did start to enjoy it. And then Nathan Fillion showed up, and his song, his entry, just his whole
superhero bravado.
What song did he come on? Man's Gotta Do? No. Yeah.
I guess so. Yeah, the one where he like jumps on the truck and he just like
man's got to do what a man's got to do.
And it was hilarious. And from there on out, it was
and then he like goes up to Felicia Day and just like pushes her into the garbage, and he doesn't like goes to stop the car, and it doesn't even.
It was the small things like that. Too, like the small faces and like the kind of the like thoughts out loud that he.
Did you see when they were like eating at the soup kitchen or whatever, and then you like kind of look in the background, and Neil Patrick Harris has got like a mustache, and he's like scooping soup in the background?
Yeah.
Did you notice that?
I saw that.
It's all the tiny details that really make this amazing, and I love the. It's from the villain's point of view, but you root for the villain the whole time, and you look at the superhero, and he's just this arrogant asshole.
He's like the over the top superhero, which turns him into like the arrogant asshole. But he did it so good.
Yeah.
Because I have not seen Firefly or anything.
Like I love,
and my only experience with Whedon is Avengers movies, which I like. So I can't. He's talked about Nathan Fillion so much, and James Gunn is associated with Nathan Fillion, and they talk about him. So I always knew that Nathan Fillion was
he's good
gold somewhere.
Yeah,
he's awesome as Hal Jordan in the DC animated movies, and then to see them like in a very comical, satirical sense, see him like bring that to like this musical, and he's like got these gloves and this like shirt with like the hammer because he's Captain
and
Hammer.
Stuff goes with him everywhere, which is also hilarious.
And he wears it with
like
pride.
A formal dinner, and he's got the gloves on still.
Yeah,
it is hilarious, and he knocks out. He's kind of like Gaston.
Yeah, like a
brawny, like half the lights are off, the other half are like dimming, and like nothing's really shining bright.
Yeah, like he it's just like yes, aha, I'm Captain Hammer, and you're just like that's.
And Captain Hammer, that's such like a like.
They call him something about Neil Patrick Harris says something about him being a tool, and it's like, man, I really, really, really enjoy it, and like I even love the ending, which I feel like a lot of movies struggle to like tie everything together, and I think the fact that we don't get this cookie cutter happy ending is really good. He tries to kill Captain Hammer, and in the process ends up killing Felicia Day, who he's in love with, and I thought that was great. He gets into
I did like the ending.
The Evil League of Evil.
The Evil League of Evil.
Led by the thoroughbred of sin. What was it, Bad Horse?
Yeah.
Bad Horse.
Oh,
Bad Horse.
those like
the 3 like bandoliers.
The 3 tenors that like pop in there, and they're like singing that little Bad Horse stuff. That was cool. That was catchy. It was cool.
Uh-huh.
One of them, I think it's the writers. One of them, I think it's like Jed Whedon or something.
Yeah, one of his brothers.
That's awesome.
And I know you don't watch
because they play, I think, multiple parts. One of the like cowboys is also one of the movers.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I'm sure they all
awesome.
took on like a second role and such.
And every time they jumped on, they were funny. Their like little bit was catchy. Like I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
This is
It's fun.
It's almost like Family Guy when they introduce like the barbershop quartet.
Yeah.
Whatever. Those guys stroll out of like a fucking toy chest and they just start singing. That's kind of like what I got out of here, and it is hilarious.
And
totally works.
I know you don't watch Big Bang Theory, but do you, Tyler?
Yeah.
You watch
That guy is from
Moist?
there, right? Moist.
Yeah.
Howard Wolowitz
Yeah.
from Big Bang. Oh yeah, I was like, oh my god. Is he a Whedon regular? Has he done anything else with Whedon?
I don't know.
Not as far as I know.
Okay, because I didn't know, because Whedon talks
He wasn't
about,
in Firefly.
Okay, because I know Whedon's like, yeah, I pull a bunch of my regulars for this, and I was like, okay, Fillion, Patrick Harris, something, and I was like, oh, Wolowitz, okay, that's
And I
not knocking him. I like the guy. He's one of the funniest guys on Big Bang Theory.
yeah.
But the fact he's in this and he's like just playing moist is like one of those words where I feel like people are like, I hate saying it.
It's so.
It's such a gross word.
And I love
moist.
how he's like about to pull that heist. And he's like, you need anything
Dampened?
dampened?
Yeah. And I was like, that's odd. Like,
I love seeing the other superheroes in the background that you don't even get an explanation on. Like the dude in like the black getup with like the pink boxing gloves.
Yeah.
What's your story?
Everybody's got a gimmick, everybody's got a gimmick. I liked at one point the Wolowitz guy says something about like, well, you could always try to be one of the henchmen or something.
Yeah. You can definitely qualify for the Henchmen's Union.
And he's like, what? Those guys? No way.
I'm Dr. Horrible. I got a PhD in horribleness.
He's like, is that like your catchphrase? Or
Yeah.
is that your?
Is that the new catchphrase? Yeah.
yeah, the whole film overall was awesome. I liked a lot of the music. Like I said, the only thing I can really complain about is it just wasn't long enough.
There just wasn't enough of it.
Yeah.
It really wasn't.
I'm glad you guys feel that way because like I was nervous you guys weren't gonna be into it as I was.
I wondered like what you got us into at first. I was like, man, every time with this guy.
Yeah, and I'm definitely gonna continue to be a troublemaker for you guys because I do like weird movies.
Yeah, God, this one, Dr. Horrible sing. It's funny. It says sing along blog, obviously, and going into it, I actually didn't know that. Like, I didn't think like a blog was going to be like that big of an issue with it. Like, I
think that's such a great way. Like,
he just like we see it all, and then off screen he like records it on his blog. And maybe he just like talks about it a lot. But then it like opens up to it, and I was like, oh, okay. Well, Neil Patrick Harris is, like we said, also very good with the facial expressions, and like
he's one of the
humor.
child actors that like is genuinely a good actor and like keeps getting work because he's such a quality actor. Like Corey Feldman, no offense, dude, but you kind of suck now.
He was awesome, but he sucks.
Macaulay Culkin, leave acting to your brothers. They got it handled.
Yeah.
He pioneered it for them, but that was it.
Like I paved the road from the Culkins.
Yeah, Neil Patrick Harris is very expressionistic, or can be, and like that just works really well for some of those, like the way he like carries his eyebrows and like
him and Fillion both.
Yeah,
in this, like had heavy use of like the subtle like facial expressions. Where they like say something and then like kind of like look off and like question it, like far off look, like So and like it captures that, and Whedon's good at capturing that too, though. Like all three of them combined was just like the perfect formula for
I imagine it's got to be pretty easy when you get all your regulars in there to just like make a scene flow. Like
have fun with it.
Directing those guys is like, hey Nathan, you kind of know what we're going for here. Let's get in here and
I like that they
all tune you.
They all created the songs as well. Like they all had a hand in like orchestrating the songs,
and there's so much like connectivity. Like they would be singing the same song together, but it'd be like
their version of.
So yeah, like I love when
Felicia
Neil Patrick
Day.
Harris and Felicia Day are like singing at the same time, and they're like back to back from the different panels.
Like the wall.
Yeah,
that was a good one.
Yeah,
Good song too.
Yeah,
the songs were catchy. The lyrics were very well written, which surprised me because it wasn't written like, it wasn't like written by a professional songwriter. It was like just Joss Whedon and I think two others did, or maybe just one of his brothers did most of the lyrics. Him and the other.
There's a word for when like a band, like all their songs like sound the same. There's like a word for it, and I can't think of what it is. But this was not that. Like
yes, every song was
like
unique.
they had that one where it like kind of went like a quick, faster pace, and then the
Dun,
slow
dun,
like
dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, he
ballad,
really covered the whole
between him and
genre of,
Felicia
like,
Day.
everything you'd hear in a full musical.
In 40
The
minutes.
romantic song, the like brawny song, the like sad weepy song,
The revenge
like
song.
the duet, with like we said, them like back-to-back screen panels, like oh my god,
Cannot believe my
It wasn't even singing the
eyes.
whole time. They had normal talking too.
Yeah.
He did all of that in 40 minutes. Full musicals.
And I mean, if you even look, like obviously the budget was low, and I feel like they did. I feel like they did
watching it.
I feel like they did more with a small budget and 40 minutes than Sweeney Todd did with probably millions of dollars and super high caliber actors. if I'm gonna give it a rating, I'm gonna go 10 out of 10 on this. It's actually like we just compiled a list of our favorite movies, and I think it's definitely gonna make the list.
I'll probably give it like a 9 out of 10.
Dr. Horrible, man, it's tough to knock. I'm gonna give it a 9.5.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna give it a 9.5.
man,
So
that's
I'm gonna
awesome.
give it a 9 because I too did not overly care for Felicia Day's role.
Man, well,
Like I feel like she was just presented as like damsel in distress,
I'm
and there's
surprised he didn't
nothing
get
wrong
nobody
with that.
I don't know. He's kind of in the nerdy spectrum
Yeah.
of Hollywood, and she's definitely like a YouTube actress who like she's very predominantly, for people who don't know who Felicia Day is, she's basically a YouTube star. If you've ever seen the show
She's
The
a hot
Guild,
redhead.
The Guild, she's like the main star in that. It's on Netflix, but it was essentially just a YouTube series, and she's what Geek and Sundry is. It's Will Wheaton's YouTube channel.
Oh, okay. All right.
And her and Will Wheaton are good friends, and they do lots of stuff together. Like Will Wheaton has a game show on YouTube, Tabletop, where they play board games, and she's on that a bunch. I think she's a producer on that. And then she's got her own Let's Play channel with her brother. So I like people like that who just maybe aren't like super famous, but they kind of just do whatever they want, make a living, and have a good time doing it. She's been in Supernatural, Eureka on Sci-Fi, if you've ever seen that. It's a show that I kind of like. It's more of a family-friendly sci-fi show.
I'm just surprised Wheaton didn't go with one of his other regulars.
Like he wasn't like Summer Glau, come here.
Yeah, or something.
Like
Yeah.
Who's that?
she's in Firefly, right?
Yeah, the sister, the doctor's sister,
Oh, she's not a good actor.
River.
I think she was the
River, yeah.
River, yeah.
Or not River. Phoenix.
Yeah, no.
That's why I was
River,
like,
sorry.
what? It was like River Phoenix in that?
No, I don't think she was that great of an actress in Firefly.
Oh,
don't-
I think he's
well,
saying
I think
he didn't.
14 episodes isn't enough to really do it, but
I think he was just saying more of a Whedon
it's like
regular.
Yeah.
she showed up in his stuff before and can sing and dance and stuff, and I'm just kind of surprised that.
Like
You
if
didn't
Tim
go with somebody
Burton,
like her?
like if Tim Burton was like, I'm gonna get Johnny Depp, Danny Elfman, and some other actress who could have just been replaced by Helena Bonham Carter. Like like
It's like that was the only thing that just got me was his. Like, how did she end up in that role as well?
Yeah.
yeah, she.
Well, if it did start out as a web series, it's that explains it a lot.
He should do it like a Doctor Horrible's 2. Like this garnished enough fan.
I wish he would.
Fame, enough.
I would be.
Enough of the
what's
ball
he
rolling
directing next? Is he doing another Marvel movie?
I don't know what he's doing next.
I would be more excited to see a Doctor Horrible 2 than to see him do another Marvel movie.
God, I loved both of his Avengers movies, but some of his original shit is what, like he did Cabin in the Woods. He
Cabin in the
wrote
Woods
that.
was good.
Good movie.
Yeah, I was like, man, that's solid. You should do.
We're actually about to do Cabin in the Woods.
We got that
Couple
coming up in a
weeks.
few weeks. But out of 10, like I said, Doctor Horrible, I'll give it a 9. So
Yeah, definitely a 10.
And then Nick, you said 9.5.
9.5.
Awesome. Jumping into our last musical,
More
my
familiar territory.
my
for us.
choice here for this week, and it was Into the Woods. And I guess starting plot wise, I guess the first half is a bunch of what's now Disney, like a bunch of like fairy tale
Staples.
people. It's got like Cinderella, it's got
Jack.
Baker and his wife, Jack
What's
and the Beanstalk.
Baker and his wife? What's that from?
See, I'm not sure either. I didn't
That's
know
the
if
only
it's
story
like
I
a
wasn't
compilation of,
familiar
like,
with. I think
originals.
there is a story of the Baker and his wife. I just don't know the actual like Grimm
Yeah,
slash
that's
Disney
something that
part
was
of it.
fun with the movie. Was like the whole time I was trying to like, oh, which story are they from?
Yeah, it
She's clearly
interweaves-
Red Riding Hood, and he's.
It interweaves all these stories as like the first act. And, it ends with everything Jack got rich from the beanstalk and Cinderella married her prince. And then the second half is kind of like it's fairy tale version of what happens after, right? And I
guess
know you
it's-
knew nothing going into it, so
Yeah,
when I
that's-
chose this one, I was like, okay, I want to see what you thought about that, because I'm sure you weren't expecting like these fairy tale creatures that I'm semi familiar with.
I almost like if I had to get into the woods. So you think about stuff with woods.
It almost sounds like a horror movie or something, like the forest.
Yeah, I feel like I kind of knew that it was some kind of mystical fairy tale something. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't necessarily know this is where they were going. But, like, as soon as I saw Cinderella, that's when I was like, okay, it's a fairy tale thing. Like, I'm
Right.
slowly putting the pieces together as it goes along. And it was really good. It seemed like the movie came to a conclusion, though, and then, like, kept going. You know what I mean?
Like,
And at first I didn't like that. I was like, what? That was clearly the ending. What's happening
What's
now?
going on? What is
I like that it was really unpredictable. Like, you think, oh, fairy tale movie, everyone's gonna live in the end. Wrong.
Dead wrong.
It definitely gets like there's some zany aspects to it, like a few parts where it's like what.
Yeah,
Like, that definitely
and I like that.
took a turn for some weirdness, but this is a musical that I saw my freshman year and really enjoyed it. Yeah, we saw the Broadway version with Bernadette Peters. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
And I think you ended up seeing it a year or two later, and then I think we rented it and talked about it being a movie. And so when this got put into production, I was really excited, and the cast is awesome.
Cast is stellar.
I don't know much about James Corden. I know he does the like carpool karaoke, and I think he's got a show. He's a funny guy, and he nails his role as the baker. Emily Blunt, we talked about her before on the show.
She was his wife.
She's his wife. She's the baker's wife, and I love her. She's hot. She is amazing. I love
She's
the
cool.
accent.
Anna Kendrick, that's where it's at for me.
Anna Kendrick is also very super gorgeous. Chris Pine is the man. He totally nails his like macho role and like the.
It's his look.
haircut.
It's the hair. It's like he's got the little bit of like the chest pubes hanging out, like the V-collar neck. Like you're like you were one dashing motherfucker. You know, like
In
him
the
and-
Witch. Oh, sorry.
I
No,
wasn't
no,
a
no,
fan for
no,
Red
go on.
Prince either.
Yeah, Meryl Streep, I thought did really good.
I was just gonna say she was a good. Like, I mean, how do you replace Bernadette Peters and Meryl Streep?
Who's
did
Bernadette
awesome.
Peters?
You saw the original Annie movie? Remember the old Annie movie?
It's been a long time.
Oh, she was okay.
It's really all I know her from. She's been in a ton of stuff.
Yeah, we'll look her up after the podcast, and you'll really attractive older female. I mean, she's very well put together.
Yeah.
Even back in
It's a good job. She played that role.
Okay.
And so Meryl Streep did an awesome job.
Yeah.
Reprising that role. I didn't know much about the other Prince, Billy Magnuson, but
He did
did
awesome
He did
well.
a fine job.
Yeah.
Thought it was interesting that they went with like a blonde and then like they made them more diverse.
Yeah.
Broadway play, I think it's just two brothers that almost look more like brothers than these two guys, or two princes that look more like brothers than just two regular princes.
And I think Jack and Red Riding Hood did a really good job
Yeah,
for
I
being
would say
younger
the Unknowns
actors.
also knocked
Yeah.
it out of the park. And Jack especially for being a kid, like he.
Oh yeah.
He was the role that I really was interested in, anyways, and so
Like this slow, dim-witted, but like full of heart kid. You know, like his mom's like, you know, it's a she. Only girl cows make milk, and he's just like looking at her like,
Now, how much did I say for the cow? No more than 5. No less than 5.
I did think it was a little strange we didn't get to see the Giants, like, up at the
Yeah.
top.
Yeah.
Of the, we didn't get to
Okay.
see
they
the
don't.
top of the
They don't
beanstalk.
show that in the Broadway play.
Yeah,
either,
so you
though.
talked about it being looking like a set. I almost thought that was like maybe part of their intent because it is stemmed from a Broadway play, and I think in a Broadway plays you see like a foot, maybe. Obviously, you can't show
Yeah.
a giant.
I loved the way it looked. Like even when she, like Cinderella was talking to her mom or whatever, and like the leaves were flying around her. I thought all the effects were like really
Yeah, it's
good. Not necessarily like normal movies, but it, like the feeling it had was just amazing.
It,
to
it
me.
had like a whimsical fantasy effect, and I'm not knocking those, but shots like I guess one of the only shots that come to mind, two or three shots come to mind. One of the shot when finally they've all set out into the woods, and it has that shot where it's like panning up, and you see all of them are
and
right
they're
there
all
in the
just
same
kind of-
shot. See, that looks okay,
set.
and then when it pans up, and you obviously see like a CGI like vast forest and the kingdom in the background. Like I felt like the blend wasn't. And I'm not saying it's like, oh, defined cut, those top of the trees, it's all CGI. But like, it just went from, you know, like, it just looked like, oh, set piece, okay, green screen, and we're just going to follow it out into the castle.
But did you watch a downloaded copy? Or have you seen the DVD copy?
I've seen the DVD copy, yeah.
It still looks like that? Because it could be a
And
compression
I'm not saying
issue.
it's
You know
bad.
what I mean?
I'm just saying, like, that's the shot where I'm like, okay, clearly they're all there. Okay, that's when it's just all the way back or something.
Well, just out
Instead
of
of,
practicality, you know that's how that would be done.
yeah. In another shot, like the really set looking was Chris Pine and the other prince, Agony, on the waterfall.
Oh my God, that was so good.
Which was, I know, right? I was like, Jesus, I wish they were singing to me.
Agony.
Like,
oh my gosh, that was amazing.
yeah, it's, and you're just
I
like,
was
God damn, man.
I'm really glad you like that because we like that song.
Yeah, that.
You know, this musical.
You know, our high school,
I love the
which-
theatrical like like over.
The one-upmanship that they're trying to.
Yeah, they're trying to one up each other, but
they're like in the water, like they're just like you know, like
oh my god,
Look at
and
my
like
hair, look at my chest.
I forgot about
they're
that.
like stomping
forgot
around in the
about that.
water,
That was
but they
so
don't
good.
care because they're just singing their heart outs about these ladies, like who they barely know. They both barely know these girls. Like he's like, why does a maiden run from a prince? You know, and
Yeah.
he's just like,
It's
One hat.
the comedy was great too. Like every once in a while you forget that there's comedy aspects to it, and
Yeah.
then like it just comes out of nowhere, and I think they nailed it.
the director Rob Marshall, who directed the fourth Pirates movie, he directed Chicago, which also a musical. He directed that 9, which was also a musical. This guy's like the musical, like guy to go to. And so when I remember they announced like, oh, Rob Marshall is gonna direct Into the Woods, I was like, okay, at least this is in good. If I don't get to do it, at least it's in good hands.
Yeah.
Like
Same thing. Yeah.
our high school did it. Our
Senior year.
senior year, your junior year.
Okay.
Oh, I guess you guys didn't go to it if you've never seen it or whatever. And it was actually really good.
Yeah.
Because obviously seeing the movie and the play and stuff, not this movie, the filmed version of the play. And when the high school did it, I was like, a bunch of amateurs, this could be bad. And it was really good. Like, everyone did awesome. And I'm not going to name names in case you're listening. But if you were there in that play, 2008 or 2009, yeah. Oh, yeah. The Cinnamon give you props. High school I won't name. Because everyone did really good. Like, it didn't turn me off. Like, you see Tremors 2 and you're like, cool, that just killed the franchise.
Oh, what? That's.
It made me, it's all right.
I've never seen either of them.
Yeah, you're not missing a whole
I'd say
lot.
the same if you saw Tremors 3. Like then
Yeah.
you can like.
Seeing that version didn't make me not want to not ever see it again. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, no, I'm really glad you like this movie though, man.
Yeah,
like,
it was
'cause I
good.
was like, I hope this is something that he's not going to be like, oh, Jesus Christ, like, I don't want to see this shit. Like,
Sometimes I don't like fairy tale stuff that much. Like, what's that show on TV that was
Like Grimm.
Once Upon a Time.
Once Upon a Time.
Yeah, I didn't care for
God.
that either.
My last girlfriend and my mom can like shut up about it, and it's like I don't know, it just never looked that good to me. But this was good.
And
Because I guess that
actually-
show was more like fairy tales, but like more modern, and like this was like really like very.
Plus, this is like musical.
very
Like,
in the woods and like
they
yeah.
just they do really well the certain
feeling.
like making you-
ambience,
like when the
ambiance,
witch like first blows in the baker's door.
Yeah.
The door flies off and it's like there's like leaves blowing in.
Uh-huh.
It's she's creepy and stuff, but the music she starts singing.
Yeah.
And it interweaves like the backstory of like kind of what sets all this up. She's like beans, something about beans, and you're just like, man, you are like
Yeah.
this is
Parsley,
why am I
pepper,
interested in
cottage cheese and whatever
Yeah.
else,
Yeah.
like all the stuff she talks about. They definitely don't waste time getting you into it because right away she like kicks the doors in and starts ranting about her beans and the curse and a cow as white as milk and all that good stuff.
And it's like a Pulp Fiction feel in the
Kinda,
beginning
yeah.
where you like get like 30 seconds of this character, into the woods, and then 30 seconds of this character, and then 30 seconds of this character, and then like they all like converge in the woods, and like they keep running into each other.
Talking about that, they force you to accept a lot of like fantastical elements. One, if these woods in the realm are that big and you run into the same people 5 times in 3 days in there, that's awesome. Good for you. You guys are awesome navigators. So that part I was like, okay. And they're the only ones in the woods, conveniently. Also, Cinderella goes to this tree, who's her mom, who's a tree, but also mom, and like grants
She
a
wept
wish.
so many tears that
And,
it
like,
brought
what-
this tree to.
So it definitely it wants you to accept a lot, which is cool, and you.
Well, you have to.
You don't think about it because it's Disney. It's these creatures
Right.
and like the realms they're from and stuff. So they almost get away with it, but it is obviously looking at it as like an older, from an older point of view. I'm like, oh, okay, so the tree just grew. And
She talks to those birds. Okay.
Yeah, and the bird, she's like, pick up these lentils, which at one point was like full, and then another time it wasn't, and that was kind of weird.
Continuity.
And the
error,
lentils
but-
have ashes.
Well, some of them were like in the fire, so she probably lost some.
Probably just scooped them.
I'm pretty sure she was scooping like bits of.
I was
wood
like,
that
man,
were,
those birds
flew
are
down
really
the
close
fire.
to that fire.
They also, and I don't. It's been a while since I've seen the Broadway version. Broadway version is very long, so they had
They
to
did
switch
cut
a
some
lot. They
stuff
cut a
out,
bunch
yeah.
of reprises out and some songs. I think. I thought they said that some new material was going to go into the movie version, but it may have been cut and just is on the DVD.
See, I thought that too, and actually while I was watching, I was trying to think of what was the new song.
Yeah.
The only one that I thought was new, and I can't be 100% because again I have not seen the Broadway one in a long time, was the one where the wife and husband, the baker and his wife, are like singing in the woods, about they can do it together, and then it ends with them like sliding down that little leafy hill and they're like laughing, and I was like, I don't remember this part, but I'm not gonna swear that it wasn't in there, and I thought maybe they're give him one more good moment before the wife dies, after she gets smashed.
The biggest part that I can remember is in the Broadway version, it's not narrated. Excuse me, it's not narrated by the baker. It's narrated. It has a narrator.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It turns out the narrator is actually part of the movie, or is part of the play, and he is actually the dad.
Yeah. So the dad bit kind of gets thrown at you in the movie, like you think he's like having a weird dream where he's like talking to his dad, or like some like
he's having, like, a
spectral
Batman
father
versus Superman
figure.
thing, yeah.
In the Broadway play, the dad is explained a lot better. Like the dad never died. He's you see him a lot in the background on the play, like just watching events, and then like he comes into play like something important. So in the movie, he was really like, "What the fuck is going on?"
Phased out almost.
Yeah, like you're talking to your dad's ghost. Like I'm not sure what's.
It was a necessary change they made for the movie, but it's just one of the few that I can, or one of the bigger ones that I can think of. I loved all the songs. Agony was awesome. I love the scene where they're trying to figure out whose fault it is for the beam.
Yeah.
The back and forth is amazing in this movie.
Yeah.
And they do it Into the Woods in that musical song. They do it almost, probably a bunch. But I know that those three we've talked about are the ones that really hit home.
One part I didn't like was when Little Red is describing her events with the big bad wolf. And like it shows her like falling down into the wolf's stomach. And lands.
Yeah.
And the Broadway play, obviously, it's just Wolf sitting there and, like an effect where she like goes behind the bed or something, gets eaten. Mm-hmm. And so you don't have all that weird shit. Like Baker comes, the screen goes, or the stage goes dark, he cuts them open, they jump out, oh my God, it's all safe. Typical stage stuff.
That was another one of those.
So in the movie presented it, I was like, this is weird. Because she's like life-size but small, and he cuts open, and James Corden's looking fucking huge, and
it's a cool looking effect.
It was weirdly presented for what they were going for. Is what I don't want to knock it because it's hard for me to knock this musical. But if we're gonna be honest, I thought the Baker could be better.
Really?
I liked James Corden. I thought he was the only one. It had a hard time presenting like what time period this was, because it starts off looking really,
I don't think there is
really middle 18th century style. Like look at that shitty ass house they're in. Like I have a hard time believing that someone, like, and at the end it kind of looks more retro, and I was like, wait a minute.
Horse and carriage.
Well, I don't think there is time period when it comes to. It's like a different universe.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, James Corden got dressed up and went into the woods, and I was like, you look pretty modern. Like, did you go to Macy's and buy that fucking jacket, dude? Like, it just had. I don't know. He was the only one that seemed out of place, but his singing was spot on, and his humor was spot on. Like,
all I'm hearing is he was spot on.
Spot on, dude. I thought
could have been better.
He's funny. There was somebody else. Oh, Christina Baranski plays the evil stepmom who is with Meryl Streep in Mamma Mia, which you thought about having us watch. So they kind of got
I
like
thought
a
about
lot
that
of
one.
like.
She did good, but the stepsisters were like.
Yes.
Like bitchy bossy, like you deserve what you got. Like
I did like that they cut the foot and the heel or the heel and the toe, which is I think
is that a Grimm thing?
That's in the Grimm story.
So that's kind of cool. They kind of like there were some
that was hard to watch.
Throwback likenesses to that.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I'd have been like, nope, doesn't fit.
I like that they made it a gold slipper instead of a glass slipper.
That's true too.
Because glass just seems
ruby, but that's
it's just so impractical. Glass shoes.
Don't step too hard, it'll crack.
Yeah.
I did like her song on the palace steps or whatever when she's like
when
has
they
that,
froze
like,
time
out of moment. Like, I like that one. All the music was really spot on. I like that we got to see a little bit more of the giant because on the Broadway play, obviously you don't. You just hear it like off stage and they're like looking up. So this one, the fact that even behind trees and stuff, you got to see this figure. I don't know. It's just a cool effect for me. It added to. Like keeping it in a fantastical setting.
It definitely made it. It helped that we got to see it.
Yeah. Instead of like a bunch of like bird's eye views from like a giant's point of view, like looking down, we got to see like almost the whole figure.
Just enough, like the trees and stuff like that. Yeah, that was cool. I like how nobody notices the beanstalk. Either one. Nobody.
That
it goes way over the horizon and everything, and not one person is like.
He chopped that beanstalk down pretty quick too. That thing was thick.
It's surprising that thing even held the giant for one. Like,
Yeah.
How did it not like tip over?
Maybe they tied it to something up
And
top.
aren't their roots like equally as big? So you have to imagine like the core of our planet now has a beanstalk in it or something.
Yeah.
Well, even when Jack's on it, it doesn't look that big around, and so you think, okay, giant's coming down it, but then it's still decent size for Jack to grab a hatchet and just knock it down as like this giant's obviously climbing faster than the ratio of which you're cutting. You know.
Yeah,
like,
but we're trying to put science to fairy tales, and it's not.
Well, I wanted to just slam that part, but Jack was so awesome though. Like
Yeah, he did
I
really.
was
His,
well.
surprised
like-
he was so young.
his young innocent voice, like the goofy hair, like he had
His
this
little,
undying
like-
love for Milky White. You know,
Little
like
hayloft bed, up in like.
So who do you think did better, Jack or the kid in?
The Broadway version?
No, I was thinking the kid in Sweeney Todd.
oh.
I like Jack personally better. Jack sounds more masculine. The kid in Sweeney Todd had a real femme. He did fine performance-wise.
Yeah.
I just like Jack better.
I don't want to grade one above the other. I think they were both. That's such a young age where it's hard to teach, hard to give them good vocal lessons because like your voice is going to be changing. Like you're only going to be that specific, like that young and have
You're
that
gonna
voice
sing like that.
for a short period in life. Like
How
both of them
much
did
would that have
awesome.
sucked if they got like halfway through filming and like his voice just dropped?
He's like Milky White.
They might
I
have-
need you.
I was gonna say they might have filmed his stuff first, but he's a pretty prominent figure in it, so it's almost
Yeah,
like
he's
gonna
in
be
it
the whole
throughout.
shoot.
Yeah.
But it was awesome. The kid's a good. I didn't recognize. We talked about Little Red Riding Hood. That girl could belt, and she sounded just like the girl in the Broadway version. She
Yeah.
also had like a very good projection of like a
Yeah.
nasally sort of
That
like,
annoying neighbor girl kind of sound, like.
where she's nicking the like bread loaves and stuff.
That was
like,
hilarious.
muffins is really funny, and she like one in the mouth, like, "Can I have a bath again?" I'm like, "No, you are get out of here, you crook."
Yeah.
Like, and the
That's-
and the
he
wife
even-
is just like, "Take this."
He even says something. He's like, she's a thief. Yeah.
And he's like, oh my god, she's. Yeah, as much as I knock.
sweets for Granny.
As much as I knock Corden for, like I said, like whatever his look was and stuff, the acting and humor was spot on. Like, so I can't knock him too hard. He
He can
was,
sing. He does the rap stuff, like with celebrities. Just a good guy, super talented.
Yeah.
Super talented cast. Even Johnny Depp, who like we talked about, sung well enough to do what his few scenes needed him to do.
yeah, be the big bad wolf. Like I think I don't know why they went with such a big name draw for such a small role. Because I'm like, doesn't that add like $20 million to your budget just casting Johnny Depp? Like,
Well, 20 instead of 60.
Disney was like, "Hey, since you're under our contract, you're kind of, our player here. Why don't you show up? Make a stage show appearance." Maybe he was filming nearby. Maybe he did it as a favor as a friend. I don't know.
they're
Maybe
like,
he was in the neighborhood already in costume. Like
That's true. He wears weird shit. Like wears weird shit. Maybe
They're like, hey,
they're like, we need you in wardrobe. He's like, I'm on it. I'm good.
Get that
Depp's
smelly little mustache.
Depp's like, how long do I got prepared for the role? They're like, we film in an hour, and he's like, I've already mastered it. I'm gonna do this for you.
He is
Like,
a chameleon, dude. That dude will blend into anything.
yeah, I will. Like, I'm glad he was there, but I'm like, you didn't need him. You could have.
One change I was glad we made, or glad they made, was that the Broadway version of the wolf looks like a wolf, almost
Yeah.
like standing.
Like a wolf walking
like a
erect.
humanoid wolf, a wolf man, so to speak. In this, he was like in wolf-colored clothing with some like fur here and fur there, and like
Weird
some,
hands.
Like some- like
pointy
the-
teeth and
The nails and like the
Right.
weird
like
mustache,
a Mr. Wolf, as
like the
opposed
old,
to,
like-
a wolf.
like an old like Acme wolf, like
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good way to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, like
Yeah. When you said that, I like.
like the one like you ever seen The Mask that Jim Carrey's watching? He's watching like some like old like Acme like wolf cartoon, and I was like, boom, that's what I pictured in my head. Like
definitely.
So I was glad they made that change. And also, I think the Broadway version, the wolf is more, shall we say, sexual towards Red Riding Hood. Like, I
yeah,
think he
creepy
has, like,
stalkerish.
parts exposed. Like it's really like, I've only seen it uncensored once, but when I watched it in school freshman year, the teacher had to fast forward through that part. Apparently, we weren't.
Yeah, I don't know if it was
mature
just
enough to
like
handle it,
yeah.
So it had some parts.
like that was just their particular costume, or like every Broadway play, they're like, make sure the wolf has a penis. We want him to have a penis.
So that's like one
Like-
of the changes you knew Disney was going to be like. Okay, first things first. Cut the penis off the wolf.
Well, leave it on. Just put some clothes over it.
Get rid of the penis. No penis here.
Ixnay on
I'm
the
really
Enos
glad
fan.
you like this though, dude.
Yeah, it was good.
Because like I said, I was kind of like,
So
I
you
think
didn't think
he's...
I'd like Dr. Horrible, probably.
Yeah.
And I definitely didn't. I was like, man, T's gonna hate this. If it's pop culture, T's gonna hate it. Hey,
Why do you think that?
I don't know. Could have made it if you're right joke.
Man, every week we got to go through this.
It's okay. We'll watch another bad movie and you'll be like, man, this is just reminding me of Zack Snyder.
All right, let's get the Juicy J comments out. What's next?
You know, I almost dropped one, and then I was like, you know, I'm going to save it. I'll save it for later.
We'll slide one in there on the next episode or something.
Hey, we still got time.
We're like, it's a good thing Juicy J didn't do these musicals.
Dude, I would watch a Juicy J musical.
It'd have been Into the Hoods.
Oh my god, that'd be amazing.
Oh my gosh.
Like The Wiz, but like with Into the Woods instead of Wizard of Oz. I would watch that. That'd be awesome.
I would promptly turn it off.
Oh, I would tune on or
He's like-
tune in, turn it on and tune it in.
Samuel L. Jackson could sing. Like, he could play an actor in that. That'd be cool.
Yeah, okay, you just need to show up and call everybody MFers and...
I'm gonna write that down. Into the Hood. That's
Juicy J.
if I gotta produce this, it's gonna happen.
Disney, don't sue us.
What do you give Into the Woods out of 10?
I'm not going to be the guy that gives it a 10 out of 10. I don't think it deserves that. I'll give it like a 9. Like another 9.
Okay.
Like I said, I actually had some parts with it, and the conversion from Broadway to movie, like I said, it fixes a lot of things or explains them, but also does the opposite. Like I said, I didn't like how Little Red Riding Hood presented falling down the werewolf's esophagus into his belly and shit. But then again, I liked how they showed the giant and stuff. So there's pros and cons of this, but I'm going to settle with a 9. Not enough cons to knock it lower, so I'm going to settle with it.
I'm actually going to give it a 7.
Ooh. If Tyler says ooh,
We talked about
then...
the zaniness of it sometimes, and not like some parts of it just kind of.
See, I love zany.
It forced me to accept a lot all at once, and it was kind of just. I was full. Couldn't accept any more. My inbox was full, my stomach was full. Couldn't accept any more, and it just kind of. They just kind of kept on. But I am a big fan of it, and I like the Broadway version better.
Right.
So that I would rank a little higher. But for the movie, definitely gonna give it a 7. Solid cast, good performances, good job.
Cinamen Tyler.
I'm gonna go 9. Actually, I really thought it was
Awesome. It's good.
good production.
Yeah,
Probably for the same reason that you gave it a 7. I love the zaniness and the fun, theatrical, musical, wonderful.
Right, yeah. I like your fulls there. You're
I'm
really
full
good
of
there.
fulls. I'm full. You're full. I'm full. We're all full.
Yeah, can't do any more.
With all three of our choices, I feel like the acting was solid all the way around. To me, I feel like music was catchy. Maybe not as catchy in Sweeney Todd. Yeah, I don't know why I keep forgetting the title of that. But still, like those songs where I was like, yeah, I might download some, put this on my music player after this is over. The acting was awesome. I liked all three. Like I said, I liked Dr. Horrible's more than I thought I would, but I didn't think that I wouldn't like it. So, yeah. All three were really good to me. This is a good week, man. I cannot wait to do musicals part 2.
Any musicals you wish we could have done or that you want to looking forward to maybe do next
Looking forward to? Well, I really like Mamma Mia.
Okay.
But not just because Meryl Streep's in it. I really like Phantom of the Opera. I'm also for going a bit old school, I like Seven Brides for Seven Brothers. I like Music Man.
I almost did Seven Brides for Seven Brothers. I thought about Music Man too.
I definitely think we should do a classics episode. Music Man. What's the other one? Singing in the Rain. Maybe
Really,
Oklahoma.
Yeah, really. Oklahoma's a good
I actually
one.
saw that movie a little while ago. It gets weird at some points, but
I
it's a good one.
definitely want to do animated musicals if there's enough, because I just love any excuse to watch South Park. Bigger, longer, and uncut.
Is it a
I like that.
musical?
Yeah, it won awards for being a musical.
Yeah, that's right. That's a musical. Is there other animated musicals out there that aren't like Disney?
Well, then, it's not animated, but you got Team America, which is the same exact people. They're definitely, I think they're, Freaknik, the musical, is like,
is that
it's a hip hop animated
I've
musical.
heard of that. I think there's a few more out there that I can't think, because I think we were talking about it a while ago.
Yeah, we'll look into it before we
yeah.
pull the trigger or whatever.
But overall, good week.
Good week.
I like I like our choices. They were awesome. Can't wait to dive next week back into horror stuff. Right,
That'll be
we
fun.
got a review of the new Blair Witch movie, and we're gonna look at some other found footage horror films. Obviously, we got to talk about Paranormal Activity. kind of a milestone. I feel like in that
Staple, like the
highest grossing. We're gonna look at the original Blair Witch. We're gonna look at VHS,
which is, I'm curious to see how you guys are gonna feel about VHS. Yes,
yeah,
it's so strange and so good. If there's I guess before we get out of here, if you're gonna watch VHS, don't pay too much attention to the outside story that ties the 5 individual stories together, because that's the weakest part of the movie. Because it's essentially 5 short stories tied together with an outside story. So when you guys are watching it, the outside story is kind of stupid. They break into a house to steal some VHS tapes. They're looking for one tape. This guy is going to pay him to find one tape. So they pop. So they're in the house and they pop in some tapes looking for the one that they're trying to find, and then each tape that they pop in is a short story.
Right.
And all those are good.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, we got October around the corner, coming up really quick. Can't wait to dive in all things horror. We got a good month coming up. So, sinners, if you like what we're doing, make sure to hit us up on iTunes, subscribe, share any way you can.
Tell your friends.
If you missed any past episodes, make sure to go to our website or our Facebook page. We got them on there.
www.cinamen.com, CINAMEN.com.
What he said. So, yeah, make sure you get the love out there. We love what we're doing. We can't do it without you. We like to thank Justin for always being on the ball, making our shit look good, better than it probably is. And just don't be a dick.
Support that podcast.
I'm gonna clip and be like, hey, this one or something.
Justin, just put some music in there.
Make it spicy.
It's got a spell on you.
'Cause you're mine. Oh, that song. Or don't. Fuck it.